Hey guys, so if you're here watching this video, it's probably because filming vertically on a gimbal is a little bit of a pain. In today's creator economy, filming short form vertical videos is kind of a lot of people's bread and butter in terms of what work looks like. And up until now, there hasn't really been a great solution for that. In the past, you kind of had two different options. You were either stuck filming flashlight mode where you'd hold the gimbal out in front of you and it'd be out there and your forearms would get the work out of their lives. Or if you got sick of the restraints that filming flashlight mode brought, you'd maybe pick up something like this, like an L bracket or a camera cage, and you try to awkwardly balance it on its side. But thankfully now, if you have one of the newer versions of the DJI Ronin series, there is a great solution. And that is the DJI R Vertical Mount. It's kind of a mouthful, but this is it. This little addition makes filming vertically actually quite a bit easier. And shockingly, when I was trying to buy this thing, I could find barely any information anywhere online. I looked for reviews, I think I found two. I looked on the DJI website and there wasn't really anything written up about it or any photos or demonstrations. I even went on YouTube and found very little actual coverage of this item, which I found really bizarre because we do live in a time period where vertical video is kind of the prominent type of video that is being created right now. But I was desperate, so I decided to take a risk and order this little mount and test it out and actually see how it goes. So without further ado, here's a hands-on practical review and demonstration of how this thing works and whether you should think about buying it or not. Let's get into it. So for anyone wondering, I'll be setting up the mount on the RS3 Pro. You can use it on the RS3, the RS3 Pro, and the RS2. So we're going to start off by dismantling this a little bit. So we start off with by removing kind of this piece. So this is the part that the camera sits on. We're going to put that to the side. And then we're going to completely take off this bottom arm that supports the camera. So we're going to bring that all the way down to the side, unlock it on the bottom, which is a little slide off. And we take that off, and we do not use this at all. We completely remove that part. And this is where the mount comes in. So what you do is you just put it on the bottom, and you slide that up, and then you just tighten it on there. So you're kind of left with it sitting just kind of sideways on the camera. Then with this piece that we took off that attaches to the camera, we slide that right in. And we can just twist that and bring it back a little bit. And now comes the standard balancing. Now what's kind of nice about this is that the mount remains on the bottom of the camera. When you're using something like an L bracket, you have to mount it to the side of the camera, and that kind of creates an awkward kind of situation where it's really awkward to balance, and honestly it puts more strain on the motors, which means you will decrease the longevity of your gimbal. So once this is on, make sure that's good and tight. You just slide this up from the bottom and you lock it in like you normally would. So I'm gonna lock that in. And now comes, again, the painful process of balancing. So it's actually not that bad. We're gonna start off with by unlocking this one, and we're just gonna make sure that this normal mount to start off with is, we're looking for this to balance. We're looking to the balance. So to do that, I'm just gonna unlock that. Right now we're tipping to the front, so we're just gonna go back a little bit. Okay, where it looks like we're kind of balanced, but we're still moving when we tip it, right? We're not frozen. So the next step is we're gonna tip the camera up, and just like normal, we're just gonna loosen this part, and we're just gonna move, since we're tipping this way, we're gonna move the weight backwards a little bit. We're trying to get this to stick straight up. Let's see, that stays. I'm gonna try to tighten that. Make sure all of these are locked. There we go. Camera is staying, so that part is balanced. Next, we are going to unlock this. We're really heavily tilting to that side, right? So we're gonna wanna pull this over to the right, not that much. Still really going to that side, so we want to push it back just a little bit. Seems about good. Probably gonna have people jumping down my throat. You didn't balance this right, but that'll work just fine. And finally, we are going to unlock this bottom piece. We're going to tilt that and lean it forward. That's pretty close, but it's still got a little bit of a lean to the other side, so we're just going to move this back a little. Let's try that. There we go. Is it that way? Perfect. And just like that, the camera is balanced. Now you might be asking, why would I spend money on this? Because I think it's about $60 Canadian, so probably 45 US, something like that. And the answer is, I do honestly believe this will prolong the life of your gimbal. I've used an L bracket quite a bit when I've been trying to shoot vertically, and I can tell you from experience, it is not a good balance. Even if you do the test and you can do the auto configuration and in-body balance test and all that, and it comes back as excellent, the center of gravity or center of balance on the camera is not in a good situation, even if the results say it is. A camera is not an evenly balanced tool. So when you're trying to balance the entire body of the camera vertically by kind of standing the camera up on its side using this, it honestly just makes the whole thing very top heavy, and your motors on your gimbal are going to have to accommodate for that. And usually that means by working in overtime, which some people might say, okay, this is their purpose, this is what they're made for. But at the end of the day, these things wear out. And when you're spending $500, $600, $700, $1,000 on these tools, you want longevity out of these devices. And so finding ways that are going to be kinder on the motors and also kinder on you balancing is a huge win to me. I can honestly say that it probably takes me a third to a fourth of the time to balance on the vertical mount than it did to balance one of these. But enough talking, let's jump into some quick demonstrations of how this is different than the other methods of shooting vertically, and you can see whether or not you think this will be worth it based on the ease that I guess I'm able to film on with one of these. Let's get to it. All right, so we're just in Devonian Gardens in downtown Calgary, and my friend Les is with me here, and she's gonna help me demonstrate the difference between the vertical mount and shooting without the vertical mount. Let's get into it. So right off the bat, the biggest difference that I noticed between shooting in these two different ways is that when you don't use the vertical mount, you're really relying on your forearms, which can get quite tiring after a long shoot day. Additionally, when you are filming in normal flashlight mode, you don't have control over the joystick on the Ronin, which means you are really limited in terms of what control you have over your camera. With the addition of the vertical mount, it gives you complete control over the joystick and allows you to film in a way that you normally do if you weren't filming vertically. This means it's going to be easier for you to get the shots you want because you're going to be using the gimbal in the way that you're used to, and for me, that's a win in my books. Alright guys, so that was it. As you can see, shooting with the DJI R Vertical Mount makes shooting vertical video so incredibly easy. Again, the control that it gives you over the camera, the ease to balance the whole thing on your gimbal, and just the better kind of center of gravity that it has on your camera is going to make this worth it in the long run. So who would this mount be for, and would you recommend buying it? Well, I think that depends so much on really what you do for work. I mean, in my commercial work, I do so much vertical video for things like social media ads, UGC content, all of that kind of stuff. And having a device that makes shooting vertical videos on a gimbal with a professional camera easier is a huge win for me. Anything that speeds up the process and gives me more control allows me to, at the end of the day, make better videos and make my clients happier. So if you're someone that does a lot of social media kind of vertical video, I think this is going to be a really great purchase. So there you have it, guys. Let me know in the comments if you've tried this before and what you think of it. And if you haven't tried it, let me know if you think you would try it and you think it would be a good fit for you. If you guys like this video, give it a like and a subscribe. I'm Kalen Charles, and I'll see you next time.